Hi everybody, time for a quick look inside Vancouver Public Schools. I'm Nick Vole. This one maybe not so quick a look, but it is an important topic you need to know about. Vancouver voters, you will face an important decision in February. The school district is asking for a supplemental levy to maintain its current level of services, and there's a lot to consider. So we are going to start with the big question, how did we get here? Well, in 2007, Washington families sued the state, arguing that it was failing to adequately fund education as it is mandated to do in the state constitution. The Supreme Court agreed, and in 2012, the so-called McCleary decision forced the legislature to provide more money. After a lot of wrangling, finally, in 2018, the legislature came up with a plan to provide more money to schools. As part of that plan, it limited how much districts could raise locally, capping levies at $1.50 per $1,000 of property value. In February of this year, under that new rule, Vancouver voters approved a $1.50 levy. So far, so good, right? Well, the problem is that when you add in the cost of long delayed and much deserved raises for teachers and other employees, along with other rising costs, there wasn't enough money overall to provide services.
We believe that our teachers deserve to be paid as professionals. We believe our clerical and professional staff and our maintenance teams ought to be paid in a competitive way. The state was failing to do that.
And Vancouver isn't alone in this problem.
What we found in 250 some school districts is the net result in terms of dollars to deploy programs and sustain positions and programs was insufficient.
Because of shortfalls in school districts across Washington, the legislature raised the so-called levy cap to $2.50, but that came too late for Vancouver Public Schools, which had been forced to run a levy at the lower rate. Facing a $14 million deficit, VPS was able to budget its way through this year with a one-time cash payment from the state, by dipping into its rainy day fund, and by making budget cuts in the central office.
Approximately $4 million of primarily administrative cuts have already been implemented, and we are not planning to restore those as a result of this supplemental levy. The idea that we could go deeper into that pool to achieve the 10.3 looming possible deficit, I think really puts the system in jeopardy of legal compliance. I think it puts the system in jeopardy of being responsive to the community.
So now the district faces the choice of either asking for more levy dollars from the community or cutting just over $10 million from classrooms and elsewhere. Here's a look at the numbers. The proposed levy would collect $10 million in 2021 and a bit more than that the following 2 years. For property owners, that would be an additional 43 cents per $1,000 of assessed property value in the first year. That number would fall slightly in 2022 and 2023. For example, if you own a home that costs $350,000, in 2021 you'd pay an additional $150. Now, when you account for state and local school taxes, the passage of this supplemental levy would bring the total bill for property owners for the cost of schools to $6.45 per $1,000 of assessed value. That's the same amount property owners were paying in 2017 before the McCleary decision.
We were very, very mindful of the fact that as a result of flawed policies by the state legislature, we did not want to put an undue excessive burden on our taxpayers. And so we were very, very pleased that we could sustain the core student-centric services that are at stake here without increasing the overall tax burden.
The levy election is February 11th. It needs a simple majority to pass. To learn more about this complicated issue, visit vansd.org/levy. You can find out the consequences of not passing the levy, see what you'll pay, and a lot more. Thank you for watching this not so quick look. I'm Nick Vole. We'll see you next time.